Greetings, greetings, sending all some warm, positive vibrations. This is Body-Culinary. And today I wanted to touch in and explore one, how to get locks if you have very, very fine hair. And number two, uh, a meditation or AKA relaxation. Relaxation and how the two are connected, relaxing into our crown and what is sprouting out of our heads, how that can be a wonderful tool and give us access to relaxation. I also invite you to consider, just to consider, to try on for size, trading in or swapping beauty for confidence and health. So I am Body-Culinary, personal trainer, professional chef, natural born woman, mother, and love of all things natural, or as natural as we can get things in this environment that we're born into. And I hear something, one of my alarms going off in the distance. I have a lot of different alarms. Let's see, which one is it? A meditation alarm. Yeah, so we'll turn it off. We don't want to snooze. So on this channel, I love to share some of my journey of radical self-acceptance, really accepting and celebrating my unique features that I was divinely assigned in this particular incarnation on this 3D earth plane. I also love to share encouragement to start or reactivate, cultivate a personal movement practice, encouragement to start a garden, whatever kind of space you have access to, as well as peaceful consumption. And what peaceful consumption looks like is consuming foods, a consumption pattern where the food that you're eating loves you back. So not only is it tasty and enjoyable, the foods that you're consuming are peaceful to your reproductive organs, peaceful to your skin, peaceful to your lungs, peaceful to your pituitary gland, your thyroid gland. It's pausing, taking a step back so that not only do we have the enjoyment, but we have, and we're nurturing ourselves with energy, foods that are literally living and nourishing and revitalizing us at a cellular level. And that will start to show up in our hair and our skin. So if you're interested in that kind of content, feel free to peruse the channel and make use of the puppet series and come spend time with me. You're invited in the garden, in the food prep area. And also I'll check in when something comes across my mind in the quiet hours that I think that could perhaps be very supportive in someone that is on a journey of health and confidence, which is to me the root and the foundation, or what I would call beauty per se, and from a different perspective, one where we can relax. So that's what we're going to touch in on today. Feel free to like, so that this can show up in the algorithm for folks that are interested in this kind of content. You're always welcome to respectfully comment, because I don't have the only perspective, and subscribe to the channel. You can also find some of my offerings like whole living foods in the hood. You'll see what kinds of foods I've been feeding myself as someone that comes from a family pattern of morbid obesity and the complications, the comorbidities and diseases that come with that. You can see how I've been eating affordable, sustainable, real food, and what that looks like in pictures and different budgets, and whole living foods in the hood with menus to fit your budget. So that's not recipes, but you will get to see all the foods that I'm eating, how I'm carrying them for myself and my family. That you can get on body-culinary.com. And as someone that has also had loads of cystic acne, you can also find natural beauty, no products, only food. You can see that guide in those pictures, and you can even see my hair before it locked. That's a whole nother story. You can download that on body-culinary.com, as well as start to take some classes if you like. Spend time with me in the kitchen. Goddess cakes, living passion cakes are raw and vegan. You can find that on the website. So that being said, I'd love to just explore today how to lock your hair, which is very practical. And I also invite you, as I've mentioned before on this channel, the beauty standards and how that affects our ability to relax. So let me say, first of all, I am not the hair police and I'm not the food police. You will have to likely find what I like to call your sweet spot. And speaking of that, we have some tea. I'm always with water in a wine glass. Today I have my tea. And today I'm drinking with no sugar, of course. I'm the sugar. I'm drinking peach, Asian pear, and peach ginger tea, which is really, really nice. So I always invite you to hydrate with water in a wine glass and tea, right? So it keeps us nice and warm. So how to lock your hair. Now, I didn't intend for my crown, my hair, my very, very fine, kinky hair to lock. It locked actually while I was traveling. I've had a return to natural for many years since the end of high school. And for me, it's so befitting to me. It takes so much stress off. I could never see myself altering the texture of my hair. That being said, I can appreciate someone that is artistically expressing with makeup, that may be trying on different styles and fashion. I can acknowledge someone else's beauty. I just know for me, my preference is where I can relax. I really love an active lifestyle. So I like my packaging and luxuriating and grooming to go with my lifestyle. So this is something sustainable. I can dress it up, dress it down. It's relaxing. I don't have to alter myself to look like something that is not me. At the same time, I can appreciate beauty or folks' expression. Again, that word beauty is something that can be actually, if you think about it, kind of loaded because somebody is setting the standard for profit of what that is, and I'm very aware. It has been my experience in observing the women around us that we're almost driven crazy. We spend millions, billions of dollars for what is called beauty, which is interesting. Somehow, at the undertone is not feeling like our natural presentation is attractive to others. And I totally get that beauty is a tool that we can use it for sales. We use it to draw people in, for people to do things for us, to give things to us. However, the foundation of emotional health, psychological health, a great part of it comes from being able to be relaxed and comfortable in our own skin. So that is something that I value very greatly. So I have chosen to swap off beauty in the traditional sense for confidence, right? Which is interesting. Folks will peddle products or sell products to you with the promise, the marketing, and those quick little campaigns is that you'll feel more confident with these things. However, I have to say, feeling a sense of psychological, emotional letdown when I take off mascara or lip gloss or contouring and if my eyebrows start to grow in, that always I found kind of disturbing. Again, this may not be everyone's experience. It's definitely something I've experienced. So I have been very conscientious in retraining my eyes to appreciate what I have so I can feel very relaxed in my skin in reality of how my body will transform. I also understand there is the we can create illusion or magic or fantasy with makeup and those things. The foundation for me, though, is health, being able to run, play, sweat, get wet in the rain. That is where I find the majority of my relaxation in my skin and me accepting and appreciating my health and feeling my skin and my pores. That is my foundation. And it's interesting that today that can seem almost courageous when we're in such a climate of influence, of very distinct influence, palpable influence from social media and our access to each other through social media. So, AfroFlowah meditations, I do have my own little language. And I move around in the wee hours and the quiet hours because that's when I find you can really hear yourself and your thoughts without all the noise and the interruption coming at you from outside sources, from media and things being marketed to you. And so, as a human flower and all of our different expressions and packaging, I find that I can listen to my thoughts. I can question thoughts, question where they're coming from. I can start to discern and even distinguish how they are making me feel in the very quiet hours. So sometimes I call them AfroFlowah. I'm the flower meditation, or you can also feel free to swap meditation for relaxation. So not needing any kind of religion or packaging, anything very fancy, simply relaxation. And so in these early hours, I was dancing. I literally just finished washing my hair. I had some beautiful jazz and soulful neo soul and R&B, and it got me feeling very poetic, listening to my thoughts, dancing in the mirror with my waist beads, and got me really feeling myself. So I was like, wow, this is a wonderful, moving meditation, a living meditation, my own organic ritual, if you will. And I noticed, a little clue is a smile on your own face. You catch yourself smiling at yourself when you're walking past the mirror or when you're dancing in the mirror. Do you feel comfortable in your own skin? So I was dancing, and I do share sometimes my playlist on my Patreon, because sometimes when I'll be working out, back when I was training in some of the gyms in New York City, people would always ask me what was on my playlist, because I am known to have a party by myself. That's one of my top secret gems. So as I was in this dance and this flow, dancing in my waist beads, blotting my hair dry, which by the way has no products in it, I thought, wow, this is a wonderful AfroFlowah meditation for relaxation. And also, we're going to talk about and explore contemplation. So, in the relaxation or meditation, I was just thinking how good it feels to feel free from hair gel. Having the need to, and I can appreciate slick down and baby hair. I've had baby hair and toothbrushes since, a young girl. However, the freedom, I invite you to explore, and I would love to hear in the comments, when have you felt the most free without having to alter yourself, to be able to sit in the throne of your own existence, right? Just simply reveling in your own skin and your own clean scent and your hydrated scent, able to dance and feel free in your body temple. I would even call it a form of nourishment, right? There's some kind of nourishment and fulfillment that has nothing to do with the physical foods that we're eating. And I find they go together. Relaxation, when we are relaxed, and dancing, even though that's vigorous, joyous movement, can be another form of relaxation, even though it's sped up and it can be vigorous. It is another form of relaxation. So I think perhaps we could be really taken for granted how these things make us feel, and how cultivating a practice of movement, of even relaxing into teas that are not sweetened, into really luxuriating and cleansing our hair and scalp. I call it a shower meditation. Spending this relaxed time with yourself, how that can really be an accessible tool to esteem, right? To confidence, to health, where we can be in a space where there isn't such a need to constantly medicate ourselves, even if it's raw vegan cookies, where we can feel really relaxed in being at home in these human suits inside of our body temple. So I call them AfroFlowah meditations, where you can celebrate everything that's coming out of your healthy scalp and hair. When you don't feel encumbered and weighted down by all the excess and the extra, even if it's coming out of the health food store. That's a wonderful question. It's something you can even take into your contemplation, right? Do you can you notice if you are carrying extra around on your body, extra energy, right? Extra thoughts, which go into emotions, which drive actions. Are you aware? Are you present to how much extra you are carrying around on your body temple? Now, one of the manifestations we know on this channel, we acknowledge, we don't demonize, we acknowledge if we have extra or additional adipose tissue, what is also known as fatty tissue. It's just a manifestation of us not being aware, perhaps, of the quality and the quantity of the energy, aka food, that we're putting in mindlessly into the body, or perhaps the quality is something, and the body is showing us that it's not being metabolized and assimilated, that we have a lot of extra stored on our body temples. So I'm huge as a trainer, nutrition consultant, and a very practical person. I'm very keenly aware that we can do a lot of fasting and exercise on the outside, and they're wonderful tools. However, quite often we're not getting to the root of what is driving our behaviors. And so, even with having rituals and doing journaling, the awareness, being present in the awareness, I find is perhaps one of the most challenging things to stay and be aware. So, being relaxed can give you access to the noticing and to being present into your body. What's going to, we have all this cognitive dissonance. What is the thing, or where can you have access to being present in your body temple, where we don't have the knee-jerk reaction to medicate ourselves and constantly be eating things when quite often we may not even be hungry. We may just be trying to have a party in our mouth and stimulate ourselves with different types of flavorings. These things are also hitting different types of receptors inside of the brain. So emotions, thoughts, chemical responses, all of these things are happening at lightning speed. And for many of us, we're an automatic pilot. So relaxation and different simple practices can go a long way and bring us into being present into our bodies and giving us access to relaxation. So we're going to do a bit of breathing, or you're invited, if you like, if you want, if you desire, to do a little bit of breathing. Very, very simple. And starting to get very quiet, that can give us access to relaxation. And in our breathing practice, after we get a little relaxed, you're invited to use contemplation. What contemplation is asking a question of your own onboard divine internal intelligence that you were born with. Every human being. It doesn't require a middleman, a middlewoman, a religious icon. It is something that each human being is born with. And then after contemplation, what we do is we get quiet and we listen for the answers. The answers can come up while you're sitting for contemplation, or perhaps if you are one of the early risers, shout out to the early risers circle, as you're preparing your tea, as you are cleaning, decluttering and cleaning your home, as you're moving in your garden or nurturing your plants. You'll start to notice, the more you get into this practice, that the answers will start to come to you, or clarity. You can put a label on it. It doesn't even need a label, but you can start to cultivate the internal, quite often you can't see the intangible muscle of listening, quiet, and discernment, right? So we ask a question in contemplation, and then we listen for the answer. So I also invite you in our contemplation, I invite you to contemplate confidence and health over beauty. One of the gifts that this can give us access to is being in our relaxation. It can give us access to being fully self-expressed, right? Relaxation can give us access to being fully self-expressed. How do we want to express in this particular life cycle? And to being fully self-actualized. All the different things that we'd like to do. Quite often, we're inhibited. We have all these different thoughts that are holding us back. Perhaps we're judging ourselves. We're not feeling confident. And so then we don't execute them. So you're invited to take a comfortable place on the floor, or if you have issues with your back, inside of a chair that is upright to give your back some support. You're welcome to sit on a yoga block that can allow you to keep your spine up nice and tall, so that you're comfortable, you don't have pain in your lower back. You're invited to keep your shoulders far away from your ears so that you're not hiked up over here and you're cutting off the flow of oxygen. So you want a lot of space between your shoulders and your ears. That's the only depression we want, is shoulder depression. Your shoulders are slightly pulled back and retracted. We're going to be breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we're going to go into our relaxation and contemplation. For AfroFlowers and anyone else, you're welcome to join. So we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. So you're welcome to continue to breathe in through the nose, expressing ah through the mouth as you become very relaxed. And I'd like you to consider that the glorious hair that grows out of your skin and your scalp, that it is doing what it would like to do. And it actually likes, for many of us, it likes to lock and turn in on itself. So I invite you to just tune into the awareness of your hair, your skin, that when it is relaxed and healthy and nourished from the inside, that it knows what it wants to do. And for many of us with the doctrine of signature of the Afro fluff and kink, our hairs on our hair, one of our features of our body temple, it likes to lock. So how can it lock? We can simply cleanse it and leave it be because it knows what it wants to do. As you continue to breathe, I would like you just to consider to try and emphasize that your hair, it knows which direction it wants to go. We can touch our scalp. We can gently guide it if there's some of the locks that we would like to separate. If we don't want them to get too big or some of them would like to join together. You're welcome to feel your hair and your scalp to see where it wants to go, to tune into how your scalp feels, if it is clean, if your scalp is breathing, if you have perhaps dried it out and your skin is communicating to you, if it is itching, if it is tight, if the styles are too tight. I invite you to consider that your hair, your skin and scalp are having a communication with you and is expressing how it would like to be free. You're invited to consider if you have any fears around allowing your hair, your crown, your kinks to do what they naturally would like to do. You're invited to consider if there are any judgments, if there are any negative emotions or feelings. And I invite you to ask, where did these thoughts come from? Were they with you from birth? Did you start to become aware of these thoughts as you started to integrate with other children in school? Or perhaps if you're older, when you started to work, maybe as a teenager, and you got comments from other people? I invite you to consider, is there a point at which you started to take into consideration other people's feedback on your natural features more than how you feel about yourself? You're invited to feel relaxed in your skin. If your kinks are puffing out over your ears, if they're coming out of your braids, however they are expressing themselves, I invite you to consider allowing your hair to play on your own head and on your own scalp. I invite you to consider what your crown would look like if you left it alone, nice and clean and free, if you just allowed it to be. Would you be tempted to alter it in order to fit into other people's idea of what you should look like? And how does that feel to you? Are you guided with your styling and your artistic expression more so from what you have in your mind's eye, or more so from what companies have in mind for you to purchase or to buy, that you must continuously engage in and purchase and buy in order to be accepted in society? I invite you to consider whether or not this makes you feel relaxed. Notice if you feel anxious. Note if you feel spastic, stretched, stressed out in an effort to run to the beauty supply store and purchase more things. I invite you to, in your mind's eye, see if you can discern the difference between playful, artistic self expression and anxiety when it comes to your natural crown. I invite you to consider whether or not your crown has been almost in a sort of jail where it has not been allowed to fully express. And what would that look like for a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year? What would it look like if your crown was fully self expressed? So these are just some of the questions that you're invited to ask yourself in this AfroFlowah meditation. You can apply this same meditation of relaxation if you have slanted eyes, if you have a wide, broad nose, if you have an open bite, if you have short hair, if you have seasoned skin. I invite you to consider if you are at your healthiest, and what do you need to be at your healthiest? Do you require more relaxation? Do you require more nutrient dense foods? Do you require more things that are easy for you to digest and to assimilate? So feel free to leave in the comments if you have made it this far into the video, and if you have explored any of these questions or contemplations and what came up from you. I would love to hear your share in the comments. So you're invited to see what it feels like to try on confidence and health. We're all at our most quote unquote beautiful when we are healthy, and how that healthy glow and perhaps nourishing a body that is pain free, how that is distinguished from beauty or a beauty standard that someone else has made up. This is Body-Culinary. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I invite you to share whatever your tea is during these contemplations, and feel welcome as you are decluttering your space and moving about, preparing your meals, your beautiful meals for the day, to replay this to give yourself some positive support. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you soon.